Would you like to call a special call meeting for animal control to order? Beginning of the meeting, if you would, Commissioner Thomas, would you lead us in invocation, and Mr. Trudeau, would you lead us in invocation?
Yes, sir. Let me pray. Father God in heaven, all power in your hand. Father, we come to you tonight asking that you be in this meeting, that you give us knowledge, strength, courage, and understanding. Father, we ask you to bless this county, allow us to grow and allow us to agree, and allow us to do the best we can for our citizens. Father, we know that what we do is not easy, and you know how difficult it is. We ask you to be with us as we make those decisions, and we know that we make those decisions for you, Lord, because we work for you and not ourselves. We just thank you and give you all the praise and the glory. We ask you to bless those that are fighting in harm's way, that we can enjoy the privilege of meeting right now as we speak. We thank you for giving us another day. We ask all these blessings in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the only other business we've got on this is animal control. Their items are to handle animal control since the city has given us notification it'll be out of animal control business by November 11th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear from our county administrator. I think he's been doing a little research on this and communicating with the city, so I'd like to see what's the latest.
The latest is I requested, the chairman up there went down and talked to Mike, deal with the city over there to see if the pound was still available, and his indication that it would be. And so, the other part of this thing is what I told y'all last meeting over there. If the city's not gonna do it, from my perspective, there's some counties in the surrounding area do it, animal control, and some that don't. To me, over there, the order of magnitude all in, somewhere around 150, it starts right there and goes up, depending on what we do. But there's a lot of options out there, and or we can, kind of see where we're at. I don't know where the money's coming from, guys, right now. If it's 150 or $100,000 over there, I don't have a lot of cash to reallocate it. My commitment to y'all is still to, start reducing the millage rate next year if we can, depending on that digest growing. But, this is an extra service, and it's up to, wherever y'all want to go. Tell me which way you want to go, then we'll figure out how we're going to do it. But right now, there's a lot of factors involved in how we go do it. If the pound's available, fine. How do we look at that? There's options out there. There's all kind of options out there. It kind of depends on how we want to handle this thing. But I think my advice, my counsel to this board here is that, and I know that there's some anxious people are saying that we've been waiting too long and too much long over here, but from my perspective, it's important that we think through this process, because backing up is hard to do.
Mr. Jeff, can you be more specific on what other options you're talking about?
Well, we can do it ourselves,
Okay.
Or we can contract it out. I don't know who those people are. We cannot do it at all. We can see if we can do some more shared resources and options with the cities. This is not including the city of Odom and Scrivener. I just assumed we would continue to do those services there. But, if we want to go out and do our own pound, that just adds to the cost of it. Or we can decide to say, wait a second, let's just let's think through this process over here and let's do the right thing. And guys, I'm in the budgeting process right now, and you know, I think everybody's come to the table with the mindset over there that we need to be lean and mean. Pardon the pun, but, you know, extra cost, and these costs are gonna go up. I mean, if that's, you know, it's a factor in this thing, but either we, and every one of them have ramifications, but either we don't continue to do it in an unincorporated area, we hire our own people over there, you know, how do we staff that? How do we cover the job out there? Who does it come underneath? I think from an animal control perspective, that really needs to fall outside of law enforcement. I think that the you know, the dangerous or imminent danger part of it, I think is associated with the safety, and I mean, certainly that's within law enforcement, but the other part of it is just, you know, how do we address it? I just think my biggest concern is how do I fund it? Either way, you know, we do give the county, I mean, the city, 20 grand budgeted, there's about 20 grand budget for gasoline, so, I mean, we can start right there, but, you know, we need to have trucks, and if the city is willing to still give us access to the pound, then that certainly is an option. There's other private-public partnerships. I really don't think that that's a viable solution at this stage, or just in a quick order. But I think it's just, you know, not do it until the time over there that we can figure out a path forward. So,
Mr. Sheffield, other than the, just not doing it, do you see any option cheaper than providing an officer to the city? Because you're talking about subbing it out, would subbing be cheaper?
you know,
We really, Commissioner, I won't want to answer that. With all the question asking and digging we've done, we don't really have any good answers to that yet. It's
Does the commission have the stomach to quit doing it totally? Just drop the service that we've been providing? Because that sounds like what we're talking about too.
That's a possibility, you know, because it is something that we haven't budgeted for. And
I mean, my
Until we
district's gonna
come
get
up
either
with a
way,
plan.
so if we do decide to do that, my district's okay. We got animal control in 5th district, so who's gonna catch and you too, Boo? It's 3 of y'all's gonna have to answer phone calls, so I mean, if that's what y'all wanna do, y'all wanna drop it, it don't cost me money on my part, so.
You know,
My district has coverage, so
no, you've got a great point.
if that's what y'all wanna do, y'all make a motion and I'll ride with you.
I don't think we're quite ready to make a motion on anything yet. You know, it's, again, the time frame that we've got to deal with this, it's been rather short. When, you know, I would have thought we would have had a little bit more time, or until the service strategy agreement we were under ran out. So, I don't know that we have a plan right now, honestly.
and I think it's gonna take a little bit of time. And, you know, there's some, you know, I talked to a number of people, and I mean, there's some solutions, and there's some opportunity. The question is, you know, is that a service over there that y'all want to continue on with? And I think in the interim over here, if the city pulls out, and they gave us notice over there, that the interim over there, we don't have that service for a period of time. Now, if we can work on it and you know, come up with a economical way to handle this, and again, there's options, and you know, as we go there, I thought about an option day before yesterday, and I discussed it with just a handful. And I think it takes a lot of effort on a lot of different people, and it takes collaboration and trust. But you know, there's going to have to take time to figure out over here. So I mean, the city's made their decision. From my perspective over there, you know, we need to make a decision of how we need to move forward over there. And I don't have a concrete answer to make that decision right now. And I know that if we make a decision without really analyze this thing over there, then, you know, we're gonna end up in I'm afraid we're gonna make a poor decision. And I don't want to be giving examples over there, but rash decisions over there have ended up costing us a lot of money in all camps. And I'd just like to sit there and say, listen, if we can get by for a little while, and let's just find out where the budget's at up there. I mean, my commitment to you a year and a half, 2 years ago was to try to start rolling that millage rate out, whatever it may be. But we got obligations out there, and how do I manage that cash flow, and, you know, and how do I manage that service? Because once you do it, and yes, we can back up, but it's hard. And, you know, I'd just rather walk into this thing, and I'd rather do a collaboration to rethink this process and just work around it there. I think it's unfortunate that we got to this place, but we're here.
We have our date of the 11th, so what does that look like after the 11th? If we get a call of a dangerous animal, so Sheriff, are you the one going to respond to that? A dangerous animal?
Yeah,
And how, so you.
even though it's not my job, I'm gonna do
So
it.
that's what I'm saying, what does it look like, because we're faced with a deadline. So after the 11th, if we're not gonna decide to do that, if somebody gets hurt by a dangerous animal out there, the sheriff says he's not prepared for that, so that's gonna fall back on us.
The issue is, and you're gonna take the phone calls, if I may, Commissioner, over there. And that's the thing over there, but
Yes,
the
that's correct.
question is, can we afford it right now? Y'all just raised the millage rate up 36%.
Can we afford being
Right,
decisive?
okay, and that's fair enough. If we can handle that in the interim and come up with a path forward over here, maybe we don't have it, then maybe we do find a solution over there that's more economical for us to do it over there. Maybe we don't have it until next year. Maybe we kind of work through this plan over there. I've talked to the sheriff a number of times, and I think some of y'all have as well. And I really think that the animal control and other counties do it outside of law enforcement, but in the interim, to protect the safety of the public over there, I think the sheriff has said he's responded. Now, does he have adequate control of this? You know, I mean, in the interim over there, the city's told us we have access to the pound up there, but, you know, the sheriff's deputies don't have all the tools to go do animal control work. This is vicious dogs or vicious animals, if you will, to protection of the citizen. And am I off base there?
Well, our options are really limited. Basically, euthanize, but that's not the way we were gonna shoot them. I mean, that's the only choice we got. We don't have any way, we don't have choke sticks, we don't have dog boxes, we don't have any other way to handle that situation, which is not the best way to do it.
But he's not gonna go out there and do that unless it's it causes an admittance. Right, if somebody, this is a situation where we're not going out there and doing that to stray dogs or stray cats or, no.
Chairman, can I make a suggestion? Do you mind? Okay, so the city has the expertise in it, we don't know what we're gonna do right now, the sheriff doesn't have the training for that part. Could we not agree with some kind of, in the meantime, possibly get with the city about if we did call, you're talking about contracting, if we did have a vicious animal, and they have the people to handle them, maybe a charge for going to handle that situation only, then we're doing it only as needed until we decide what we're gonna do. Could that be a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, you asking me? Yeah, I think that all things are possible.
Is that a possibility?
If you have a vicious dog in the county and the sheriff doesn't help, all you got to do is call us, we're not gonna charge for it, we're gonna help, we'll assist.
And I think that gives us time over there. If we do that, that gives us time, Commissioner, to really think through this process and how do y'all want to handle animal control or animal services, as other counties call it now, in the county. And there's many counties over there that in our area that don't do this.
So what we're saying is, in the meantime, if we do this route, in the meantime, we're gonna have no nuisance, no animal control for nuisance animals, only for vicious animals. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. Commissioner, I mean, animal control over there means a whole lot more than, you know, than we have the resources to handle right now.
Is that
And listen, if there's a nuisance over there, I mean, that doesn't prevent, and I will let the city manager speak for them, but You know, if there's a, you know, citizens that pick up stray animals and can't identify them there, they still have the ability to take it to the pound. Am I wrong about that? You know, I think within if they can hold them and how full the pound is and so forth, so on there. So, you know, it isn't that we got officers going out there to get that. But if you have a stray animal, I mean, if the animal organizations can pick it up over there, mayor, manager, I mean, within reason.
We got a pound for it.
Right, and I think we can work that situation out, but, you know, again, guys, you know, I mean, there's all kind of snap decisions we can make and go do this thing, and I'm just sitting there saying, listen, I'm looking at the budget and looking at the cost and looking at needs and resources I have required for other services that we do, mandatory or unmandatory, and I think that if we do this over there, it just takes away from something else, and is, you know, I think that if we work through this process, if the city can help us out through this transition, and they've made a point over there they need to get out of it, then maybe we can come up with a different solution later on over there. In the interim over there, we're gonna protect the safety of the public. The sheriff is committed to that, and if people want to use the access to the pound, then the mayor and the manager says, within reason, I mean, if the pound's full, we can't put no more in there, but.
We're right across that situation now. I mean,
Yeah, we're there now.
Who this affects the first, second, third, and I just on an assumption that y'all wouldn't be willing to cut a service, but if you're willing to cut the service and go to just the vicious animals,
I think,
it doesn't affect my
I think
district.
we're gonna, at this stage in the game right now, I think we'll have to modify that service.
I don't think we have a choice. I mean, here we are. We just come through an ordeal where we had to raise the millage, and we promised that we was gonna roll the millage back. I don't wanna take one step forward and two steps backwards. Here's a situation where it's gonna cost us a great amount of money that we don't have a budget. And yeah, I think we need to concentrate on the vicious dog thing, and sure, we just can't pick up every stray dog, you know. Main thing about it is the dog show up at the house, the worst thing you do is feed it. He ain't going nowhere if you do that. But I just don't see us.
They say the same thing about them geese out there. So
Yes.
the first thing they got told from the game warden to DNR to the PETA.
I just don't see us doing it.
So our signs are out there that
Yeah.
say, do not feed those things, because they collect over there. It's like any animal, they're gonna go where the food's at.
And I'm not saying that because a part of my district is in the city. I have a part of my district in the county as well. I don't know about you, Ralph, but part of my district in the county as
A
well.
little bit too.
Yeah. So
So do you see this being a part of in our budget for next year? Something that we're gonna have to do about it?
I think that's up to y'all, Commissioner. I may sit there and identify this up there, but I don't know where that budget's at. Now, maybe 21,
Yeah.
you know, I just sit there and say, listen, you know, I'm trying to stay on task over there with that commitment that I gave y'all June of 18. And
that also depends on what all this entails, and really, it's a lot more involved than we think. I think that's research, Amanda did some research on it, and can you give us a little idea of what all it entails and what we have to do and what you all are required to do for us to get into that business?
Well, I just know Tammy and I met about the, dangerous dogs or vicious dogs having to issue the permit to the actual homeowners.
but we still
What
gonna
we would have
have
to
to do that.
do, we still have to do that, but I know that the animal control, they have to go to training, they have to be certified. Animal control officers have to be certified.
We've got some rather costly permits in order to operate a pound,
Yeah,
rather costly permits.
Record keeping,
Why would we wanna have 2 pounds in one county?
Well, we're looking at all the options, so we would know and be able to come to you and say, hey, it might cost us $400,000 to get started with our own animal control, or it might cost us $150,000 to add a person or two on. We've pulled up numbers in all kind of ways, and we just simply don't have any of those numbers in the budget.
And you don't know whether that cost may start out as 150 this year, and next year it might be 200, and the year after that, it may go further down. So,
and it grows, guys.
it grows.
And so there's some options here, and I think, you know, I mean, all options still on the table, but I think that, you know, as we move forward, I think it's gonna be more prevalent in society. I mean, y'all know that, y'all get calls and, you know,
Commissioner Roberts, I will venture to say that your district's probably gonna be the most affected by this.
Probably so.
Yours and Commissioner McCreary's. Because of the population of folks out in the Fanny Head area, and Seminole Woods area.
Don't you have a lot on Rainier Road?
Pardon?
Isn't some of your district on Rainier Road?
A little bit of it, but not that as heavy populated as District
I see.
Three. You know, and more from experience with me, when a dog wanders up on the farm, generally I can get the dog and find out his name's on the collar and call and say, hey, your dog's over here. A dog that's not collared and is more vicious, or seems to be vicious, there's an altogether different operation for that. Can't get to him and get the name on the collar.
and we gotta test them, we got the health department has to go test them.
Okay, then, you know, again, it goes back, I think Commissioner McCreary and Commissioner Roberts have probably the biggest load of folks because so much more mine's farm area and in the smaller city of Odom. I don't have a solution. As much as since the mayor messaged me last year and said, okay, you know, our numbers aren't working with the pound, we gotta do something. And Lord knows how many I've talked to, how many pounds I've been to, how many counties I've been to try to figure out what our options were, knowing that even the extra man wasn't in the budget. We've talked about it a little bit, not a whole lot, until the shot was placed across our barrel on getting out of it November 11th. So I don't have a solution other than if we do have a vicious animal, the sheriff working with us to take care of it status quo and still do the permits like we have to. As far as a stray Fifi wandering up in somebody's yard, I don't see us having a solution between now and November 11th to pick up Fifi and get it back to its owner. Hopefully it'll want it back home. And that's the facts.
Well, you know, everybody's not gonna be as cordial as other people. I mean, my neighbor's dog comes in my doggy door. He comes in and starts eating my bulldog's food. I run him out, call the neighbor and say, hey, your dog's over here and he's in the house, wanting to get in bed with me. So, but everybody's not gonna be that way.
I know.
They're gonna get pissed off and shoot that joker. And then you're gonna have a dang family feud if you're not careful.
Well, that just takes it to another level, and I don't know the remedy for that.
Well, I'm glad at least here we have a solution for the vicious ones. The city's gonna help with that, so that's good.
That's what.
And the sheriff's gonna continue.
Well, I need to, how long the time period are we talking about here to, because quite frankly, I feel like, you know, if you're gonna give me this obligation or ask me to help you with this, I need some equipment.
They're good, yeah.
I need choke sticks, I need dart gun, I need other things. Rather than
Can I-
having to use, I mean, there's gonna be places you can't use a firearm to take care of the problem.
Can I work with you, Sheriff, to come up with your list over there, what you may do on an interim basis over here, and
Well,
with a commitment that we're gonna work on a plan?
and I appreciate the city, I mean, offering to do what they're doing, but they're not gonna be available all the time on weekends or after hours either, when a lot of this takes place, but, you know, we'll utilize them as much as we can, but there's gonna be times when we gotta handle it.
That's right.
So, yeah, I just asked for a little, help there.
I'll work with you, Sheriff, and if we can identify something. But that ain't the order of magnitude that we're talking about taking on ourselves, so, you know, I think, and you know, it'll give us some time to work on a longer term approach to this, if you will.
Well, gentlemen, you wanna let's set ourselves our own deadline, so to speak, to try to be closer to a resolution?
Well, I don't know how much money we're talking about. We need equipment and training, if it's gonna be that way.
Let me work through the budget process process over there. Let's just sit there and say, when at the end of the day, if there, where we at over here, what we're gonna allocate to this thing. And I think right now is I need to work through this budget process, and I'm right in the middle of it, and, you know, if we make a commitment out there, well, it's gonna cost a deadline over there. If I don't have the money, I don't have the money, and where do you wanna go? And I think that at that point over there, my goal over there, and I think Amanda and I are gonna be ready, is to present the budget in early December. And, you know, we have that discussion about how we wanna go and what resources we have to go approach this matter.
Well, I was gonna, you know, because of the parties involved, we need to get ourselves to a point where we're gonna say, we're gonna do this at this date, or we don't have a plan at this date. What are we gonna do? So, if your budget's gonna be near ready in December, Sheriff, the first of the year, right at the first of the year, I'm not talking about having new equipment until then. I'm talking about us having some kind of commitment on what we're gonna do to handle animal control or not handle it. Mr. City Manager, would you agree to continue helping if we call for assistance on those till, let's say, give us the first week in January?
Yeah, I would probably go as far to say if he had one after hours or in the middle of the night. You don't have a lot in the middle of the night.
No, not in the middle of the night. Most of it's in the, when the time changes, it's gonna slide because it's dark then. But when the times, you know, like summertime, it's bad after they go home and, you know, and
Our
I
guys,
know they're tired too. They won't have to come out either.
well, our guys will come out if he needs help. You know, we might, if it gets regular, we might ask for a little bit of overtime money, but, I don't see it being a big amount of money.
I think if we, you know, if we really concentrate on it and come back by then with some numbers saying, if we handle ourselves, 2 men with 2 trucks, with all the equipment it's gonna take, it's gonna be X number of $100,000.
And it depends on it, if we continue to use the pound over there, then we don't have to do that. I mean, it could work out.
Mr. Chairman, it's not gonna happen that often you're gonna have a vicious dog. I mean, you don't get that many calls. You get a lot more calls on nuisance stuff like Ralph was talking about, but, you know, this ain't like it's gonna be 4 or 5 times a day.
A day.
5 times a year.
You
5 times a
might,
year.
if that, yeah.
Now,
But, you know, you got to be
Prepared.
ready for it, yeah.
That's right.
And I'll get with them and find out who to call, or if they gonna have somebody on call, that'll help us a lot, know who to call.
Well, I
mean,
spoke
which one
with
of them?
several of my voters, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm through.
I spoke with a lot of people in my district, and you're right, it affects everybody in mine. And you know, we talk about cutting spending and controlling spending and all that, I revert back to what I said to start with. Controlling spending starts with departments. If we want to control spending, I think that's where we should have started, was controlling spending in the departments, so that everybody's held accountable to their budget. But the people that I talk to in my district, some of them don't care, they've never called animal control in their life, some of them call them regular. Out in Mike's district, I own some property out there, and they call regular. There's a lot of people out there I don't want taking care of their animals. Myself, I don't have a problem with taking care, just like you said, go pick the animal up, do what you gotta do with the animal, as far as taking it somewhere or doing whatever. But to me, you have a service, you know, everybody's saying we're adding a service, and I agree, it's a little more burden on the county, but it's a service already established, and I don't feel like that we need to start cutting services, even though we have gone up on the millage rate. I don't think we need to cut services to save money. Some of the people rely on it. I don't know if anybody in here's ever been to Argentina. I went last year. They have no animal control. I did not see one person eating that there was not a dog in front of. And I'm sure that's, you know, that's in the city. They don't have one anywhere. Once you have these dogs that are left, people are gonna get tired of getting rid of them themselves, whether they shoot them or have to haul them all the way to the pound or whatever. Then you're gonna have breeding, and then you're gonna have a lot more animals. So that's something else that we have to think about. That once you turn your eyes away from those animals, you're allowing them to do whatever they want and breed. And I mean, I've seen, just today in your district, I saw a mama and 8 puppies. And I didn't see a collar on any of them. So that's something else that we have to look at, whether we want to spend money on it or not. I think it could become, just like Mr. Jeffords was saying, we need to look at it rationally and find a solution. That's why I made the motion on the code enforcement. The sheriff said that, you know, that they're not gonna be busy all the time. Well, we need a code enforcement for going out and looking at trailer stickers, things like that. I've heard that we used to have one and their salary was paid from them checking those stickers. So I think if you hired a code enforcement officer, they would not be limited just to animal control. Their job could consist of other things. And me being a business person, when they come to work for me, they don't know what they're gonna be doing from one day to the next. They do whatever I have for them to do. And I think if you had a code enforcement officer, you could implement that, if they're not on animal control, they're out checking stickers or whatever ever comes up that we need a code enforcement officer for. So they would not only have that training, take some burden. I don't care if the sheriff says he's not gonna handle those, he's gonna get the calls for them. People are still gonna call 911 and tie them up, complaining about animals and things like that. They're gonna call the city, cause that's the number they've always had. And I just feel like, to me, that if we hired a code enforcement officer to take over this responsibility to help the city out and to help my constituents out, I realize we don't have it in the budget, but I realize we don't have the overspending that we spend in the budget. So you have to look at it from a lot of different perspectives, or I do anyway. But when you look at cutting a service out such as that, I think it's gonna be worse down the road. Mike, I know your district has got a lot of close-knit houses. Mine are spread out a little bit farther, but you get a lot of dumping of animals and you get a lot of more problems when you do that. Just kind of turning away from the problem, and then there's gonna be more animals to deal with. You've got to look at people hitting animals. I don't know, the mayor probably can tell you, a lot of people hit animals, whether it's deer, hogs, but if you turn the dogs loose, and whether they're vicious or not, if it runs out in front of your car and you hit it, there's damage, and then you got problems there also. So whatever we do, I want to look at all aspects of it, and I don't want to drag this out like we drag other things out. I want to make sure that we have everything looked at so that we can make the proper decision for what's best for Wayne County, not only our areas, but y'all say y'all live in the city. Well, I can tell you, if we start getting a lot in the county, they're gonna slip over into the city. You get a lot of animals like that, that are breeding. They don't know the boundaries of the city and the county, so you're gonna have them. And you can say, no, that's not gonna happen, but you can't say it won't happen.
It will happen.
And you start, I mean, I've seen it. I'm an adamant hunter. You go to an area where there's not a lot of hunting, there's a lot of animals there, because that's what they do. They breed and they have no controls over them. You go to an area that's controlled, and it's controlled just like that. But anyway, whatever we do, I want to make sure we do it, and we do it promptly so we can take care of it and we don't drag it out, so that we can give them the help that they need. They've graciously said that they will help us, and I think that's what we need to do, is look at all aspects. And I'm wide open. If Mr. Jeffords needs some help looking into some things, I called counties around us that do, you know, they're smaller, but some do and some don't have animal control. And they have people that volunteer to go take care of it. And I'm not for that. because, you know, I've heard of people being shot from shooting animals. I've even heard of an animal control officer having a mishap. But either way, I think we need to look at it and look at all the aspects, just like what I was talking about, code enforcement. We get them to do another job, and then it's not as big a burden as Commissioner Thomas was talking about on the county, because we're actually getting people to pay their taxes that normally we don't even follow up on at this time, I believe. Is that correct? We don't have anybody looking for trailer stickers.
We don't, but now they won't get power hooked up until they get the sticker up there, so it's in the process.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, maybe I misled you. When I was talking about there wasn't that many calls, I'm talking about vicious and dangerous dogs.
That's right.
Nuisance calls are out of this world.
That's
I
right.
don't believe code enforcement and animal control, I don't believe we got enough time to do both. Not in the county, not in unincorporated area of the county.
Right. Right.
We talk area twice as big as the city or more.
That's right.
I'm gonna bring up something that you can look into. This is not Mike Deal's answer by any means. I do like it, but politically, it's pretty bad. The communities that do the best effort charges a license fee for every dog in the county. You probably, I don't know, you got 5,000 dogs maybe in the county, maybe more, maybe not that many. But it's pretty simple to do it, because everybody takes a dog to the vet, they collect that fee. Even if they take it outside, they know they have a license, and that dog has to have a license. It's not gonna be popular, but it's a user fee. The people that owns dogs cause the problem. So they're paying for to correct the problem. I wanted to do that in the city. It used to be in the late 1800s, and I can show you in minutes, it was $1 per dog. They had it. If you use today's numbers, that would probably be $100 a dog. I'm not suggesting that. Something probably that would work is $25 a dog. I have a dog, I'd pay 25. I think the mayor probably would pay 25
I'd put
per
mine to
dog.
sleep.
His would be $50.
His needs to
I'd put
be
mine to
50.
sleep.
Well, that's the kind of stuff we want to hear
You
about
could
from
look
our
into that.
officers.
I don't know
They
that,
do it in Savannah.
they do it in Savannah, they do it in, I think they do it in Liberty, and all the communities up around Atlanta do it. So, I'm not suggesting that. I don't want my phone to ring off the hook.
Too late now.
But, I would like to do it in the city, but we haven't advanced to that mode either, so. You could collect a lot of money. You got $5,000, $10,000, $25.
All right, well, unless any other solutions right now, again, I've requested that the sheriff give us until first week in January, and the city help us continue until the first week in January until we have a solution with it.
I think that's the best way to go, Mr. Chairman, because there's no quick solution to this. Court enforcement officer, dog catcher, whatever the case may be. I know that from experience, I've seen a lot of people in the city with stray dogs taken to the county. I haven't seen that vice versa, but I know that I've seen that happen.
I'm sure it happens.
So there's more room, that's why. But anyway, the departments that you were talking about, it's overspending. I mean, you just need to, I think we've been pretty tight lately, so I'm anxious to know what departments you're talking about that's doing that much overspending that you keep talking about. I'd like to know who those departments are, and I think that we've been doing a good job of looking at those departments. We get a monthly readout, and so after we raised minutes like we did, we've been looking at it pretty close. I don't understand where that's coming from, but we're gonna have to take a long look at this, and no need to drag this meeting out, and that's all we can do.
Well, and let me answer that if I can. And me being a new commissioner, I went through the budget so I could find out a little bit about it. And most of the overspending you don't see till December. Because that's when, am I correct, Mr. Jeffords? That's when the final count is in December. You wouldn't see it now. You have to look through it now to see where they're at. I mean, we have some line items that are at 500%. And if, that's what I'm talking about. If we don't, everybody voted, or the majority voted, to not control that spending, and that's what I'm talking about, is we need to look at that budget and stop that spending to control the money rather than cut a service. It makes no sense to me to cut a service, whether the city's providing it or whether we're providing it or whatever. The people are used to that service, and I believe we need to continue
But
that
Commissioner,
service.
yeah, okay, good, I understand what you're saying, but we look at the budget every month, and on the budget, it says year-to-date or what you spent. Now, in the past, in December, when we amend the budget, for those things that was overspent during that month, but you'll see them monthly. Yeah, you new commissioner, I'm old commissioner, but I look at the budget just as well as you do. And I'm sure I understand it very well, so.
With all due respect, if we'd have been looking at the budget before, we wouldn't be $8 million in the hole.
Looking at the budget before, it had anything to do with it, that was something
Sure it does.
that was something that was done of somebody who's not here now, okay?
If you're looking at it, you see it. If you're
All right,
not
guys,
looking at
all right.
it, you don't see
Guys, we're
it.
getting way off man
It must
control
be-
here, and I got a soccer game I'd like to go to if
Okay.
we can get it done.
Yeah, he's the expert on it.
All right, let's go to, I'll entertain a motion to table this until the first.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
And, move for a second.
Second.
Any discussion? I will say this, what I'd like the administrator to do with our help is have numbers together on the code enforcement officer and the possibility of handling the task of animal control with any license or law enforcement post certification or whatever you might have, as well as one or two officers provided by us to do it ourselves, or get with the city to see what it would take to appease them, guys. Get finished my discussion. What it would take to appease them to enter into another service strategy agreement with animal control. So, I'm throwing that into discussion part of that. I have a motion, I have a second, any more discussion?
So we're just gonna look at our options,
Come back with some numbers.
come back with all the numbers, all the possibilities, have everything together in January, and then we'll make a decision then on what we need, based on the facts and the numbers,
Yes.
which way we need to go.
We should have enough information before us and have talked to all the players involved to know that these are our options, and we're going to have to choose.
But by our tabling, we effectively have made a decision. We made a decision that on November the 11th, we're gonna discontinue the service of the nuisance control. We haven't made that decision.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Unless we can find out, unless we can figure something out between now and then, other than that, and yet. You know, as bad as I hate to say it, we're not bound by law, we're not mandated by the Constitution to provide any kind of nuisance animal control. We are, however, provided to protect the citizens of the county and keep them safe, so we have to split that hair until we decide what we are gonna do in the way of animal control. Madam Clerk, we have a motion to second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Myers,
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
Okay, having no further business, we make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.